Every network called this a normal episode. The internal footage from the control room tells a completely different story, one that begins with a director whispering, "Cut to 2," and ends with a compliance officer standing in the hallway outside Studio 57, holding a phone that has not stopped vibrating for 41 minutes, unable to decide which call to answer first because every call is from someone above her, and every person above her is asking the same question: who authorized this? The timeline is on the screen. Colbert stands 4 feet from the LED wall, his right hand raised, his index finger resting on a date, March 14th, as though the date itself is a nerve he is pressing. Below the date, a logged call from the FCC chairman's office to CBS's Regulatory Affairs Division. Duration, 22 minutes. Subject field, Content Advisory, Late Show, Ongoing Concerns. Beside the call log, a transcript excerpt, 4 sentences long, displayed in a font large enough for the balcony to read without squinting. The third sentence contains the phrase, "Continued disregard for broadcast standards will necessitate formal review." The fourth sentence contains a name, Colbert's name. The FCC chairman sits 7 feet away in the guest chair, his posture locked upright, his right hand gripping the armrest with a pressure that has turned 3 knuckles pale. His mouth is open. No sound is coming from it. But to understand how a regulatory official came to be sitting in a late-night television studio watching his own words projected on a wall he cannot turn off, the evening has to be reconstructed from its origin. The Sullivan Theater feels smaller tonight. The overhead rig carries 48 automated fixtures, and the lighting designer has set them to a flat, surgical wash that eliminates shadow and strips the set of every visual cue that normally signals entertainment. There are no warm pools of amber on the desk. There are no soft blue fills along the curtain. The stage looks like what it is, a room with cameras in it, lit for documentation, not performance. The band sits in silence. John Batiste's piano lid is closed. The brass section holds their instruments in their laps, bells pointed at the floor, as though the horns themselves understand that tonight is not a night for punctuation. A stagehand standing near the curtain pull later describes the atmosphere as the energy of a building that knows it is about to become a courtroom. Colbert enters from stage, right at 11:35 p.m. His walk is different. The audience will not notice this at home, but the crew does. The stride that normally carries a loose, theatrical bounce is tonight compressed, each step landing flat, even. The walk of a man who has measured the distance from the wings to the desk and intends to cover it without wasting a single inch. He reaches the desk. He does not adjust his glasses. He does not straighten his tie. He does not perform the small physical negotiations that hosts use to signal comfort. He stands behind the chair and places both hands on its back, fingers curling over the leather, and looks at the audience the way a prosecutor looks at a jury before opening arguments, not seeking approval, but establishing that what follows is not optional. He sits. The chair accepts him the way a courtroom bench accepts a judge, not warmly, not reluctantly, but with the institutional weight of a seat that confers authority on whoever occupies it. His elbows settle on the desk, his hands fold. His eyes sweep the front row once, then stop on the guest chair. It is empty. A placard rests on the side table beside it, face down. Colbert does not acknowledge the empty chair. He looks at the camera. His first line is the only joke he will tell for the next 37 minutes. The FCC chairman agreed to appear on this show tonight to discuss broadcast standards, which tells you everything you need to know about his judgment. The audience laughs. The laugh has an edge. Thin, metallic, the sound of amusement contaminated by the awareness that something larger is approaching. Colbert does not smile. He waits for the sound to pass, then opens a folder that has been positioned at the center of his desk since before the cameras rolled. The folder contains 7 pages. Colbert does not describe its contents. He reads. The first page is a public statement issued by the FCC chairman 9 days earlier, delivered at a press briefing attended by 14 journalists and broadcast on C-SPAN to an audience of approximately 6,000 viewers. The statement addresses the erosion of broadcast decorum and identifies specific late-night programming as an area of heightened regulatory interest. Colbert reads the statement in its entirety. His voice is flat, metered, clinical, each word arriving at the same volume and the same speed, stripped of every inflection that would indicate opinion. The statement is 211 words long. By word 100, 3 people in the front row have stopped blinking. By word 200, a woman in the mezzanine has placed both hands on the railing in front of her and is gripping it with a force that her seatmate will later describe as the way someone holds on during turbulence. That was the public statement, Colbert says. He sets the page aside. Now here is the private one. The screen fills. An email. The sender line displays the FCC chairman's name. The recipient line is redacted, but the domain, visible in the header, belongs to the network's parent company. The timestamp is 3 hours after the public briefing. The body of the email is 4 sentences. Colbert reads them one at a time, pausing between each sentence long enough for the silence to develop weight. Sentence 1 instructs the recipient to communicate directly with the show's executive producer regarding content that falls outside acceptable parameters. Sentence 2 defines those parameters with a phrase that Colbert reads twice. Material that targets, by name or implication, sitting officials of independent regulatory agencies. Sentence 3 states that continued non-compliance will be noted in the network's file and referenced during the upcoming license renewal cycle. Sentence 4 is 1 word long. Clear? Colbert sets down the page. His hands return to the desk surface. His breathing is even. His face betrays nothing. Clear, he repeats. Then a door opens. Stage left. The FCC chairman enters. His walk is careful, the measured stride of a man navigating terrain he does not trust. He wears a dark suit, pressed and sharp, the uniform of institutional authority worn by a man who is accustomed to entering rooms where the furniture has been arranged for his comfort. Tonight, the furniture has not been arranged for his comfort. The guest chair is angled 2 degrees toward the audience. A change so subtle that no viewer at home would detect it, but one that forces the chairman to sit with his left side exposed to 1,400 people. He pauses before sitting. His right hand moves to his jacket button, fastening it, unfastening it, fastening it again, a 3-part gesture that communicates nothing except the inability to decide what his hands should be doing. He lowers himself into the chair and spreads wide, claiming the armrests, his back pressing into the cushion with the authority of a man who has been claiming chairs in government buildings for 23 years. His eyes lock on Colbert. The look carries a confidence so practiced that it has become structural, load-bearing, holding up every expression that sits on top of it. His first line arrives before Colbert speaks. "Stephen, I'm here because I believe in transparency. I have nothing to hide from your audience or anyone else." Colbert looks at him. The look lasts 4 seconds. It is the look of a man holding a full hand and watching his opponent push chips toward the center of the table. "Good," Colbert says. "Then you won't mind what happens next." The chairman talks. He talks for 3 uninterrupted minutes. He addresses mischaracterizations in the press. He references his long commitment to First Amendment values. He describes the FCC's role as a guardian of the public airwaves and frames his statement as routine regulatory communication consistent with the Commission's statutory mandate. He uses the word routine 4 times. He uses the word mandate 3 times. He uses the phrase good faith twice. Colbert sits perfectly still through all of it. His hands do not move. His expression does not shift. His silence absorbs every word the chairman produces, lets it land, lets it dissipate, and offers nothing in return. A man in the 7th row crosses his arms and uncrosses them twice in 60 seconds. A woman near the aisle removes her glasses and holds them in her lap, as though seeing clearly has become temporarily unbearable. The silence stretches. The chairman fills it. The more he fills it, the louder the silence becomes. Then Colbert breaks it. He leans forward. His elbows leave the desk and his forearms press flat against the surface, closing the distance between himself and the chairman by 8 inches. His voice drops, not louder, lower, the frequency shift of a man who is no longer performing for the room, but speaking to a single person in it. "Everything you just said was designed to fill this room with noise, but facts do not care about volume." The chairman's jaw tightens. The camera catches the movement. A lateral shift, the mandible sliding left and locking, the involuntary response of a body that knows it has been hit before the mind has processed the impact. Colbert does not wait for a response. He turns to the screen. The clip plays, archival footage from a press conference 7 months ago. The chairman stands at a podium bearing the FCC seal. A reporter asks a question about political interference in broadcast regulation. The chairman's answer is 11 words. "This commission has never and will never act on political instruction." The clip ends. Colbert lets the echo hang. Then he places the email back on the screen beside the clip. The chairman's face, composed and authoritative in the archival footage, sits 3 feet to the left of the chairman's email, instructive and threatening in its specificity. The juxtaposition does not require commentary. It provides its own. "Let's take an inventory," Colbert says. "You said you've never acted on political instruction. The email says otherwise. You said you believe in transparency. The email was sent privately to my employer with an implied threat attached. You said you have nothing to hide." He pauses. "So, let's find out what the inventory actually contains." The folder opens again. Documents emerge, not dramatically, not with the theatrical slow motion of a magician revealing a card, but with the efficient pace of an accountant presenting a ledger. Page 1. A call log between the chairman's office and the White House Office of Communications. 17 calls in 9 weeks. Average duration 14 minutes. Page 2. A memorandum from the chairman to his enforcement division flagging 3 specific programs for enhanced compliance monitoring. All 3 programs are late-night shows. All 3 hosts have made jokes about the president in the preceding 30 days. Page 3. A timeline of license challenge filings cross-referenced with public statements from political figures. The alignment is surgical. Statement on Monday, filing on Wednesday, inquiry opened on Friday. 3 times, 4 times, 5. A backstage recording plays. The audio is ambient, captured by a phone placed face down on a conference table. The chairman's voice is recognizable. The same cadence, the same measured authority, but stripped of its public polish. He is speaking to someone whose responses are inaudible. A single sentence cuts through the room's sound system. If he doesn't adjust the tone, we adjust the license timeline. It's not complicated. Colbert lets the sentence finish. He lets the silence that follows it fill the studio for 7 full seconds. The chairman's face undergoes a transformation that the front row watches in real time. His composure, the load-bearing confidence that has held every other expression in place, develops a fracture. His eyes widen. His lips press together, then part, then press together again. His hand leaves the armrest and rises toward his face, stops, returns to the armrest. The circuit is incomplete. The gesture has nowhere to land. "You said those words," Colbert says. "That is your voice." Verified by 3 independent audio forensic analysts whose reports are available on our website as of 9 minutes ago. A door opens. A woman steps onto the stage from the wings. She is small, dressed in a dark cardigan that she keeps pulling closed with her right hand. She is a former scheduling coordinator in the chairman's office. She managed his calendar for 14 months. Her voice carries the specific flatness of someone who has told this story to herself so many times that the emotions have been worn smooth, leaving only the facts. She describes the calls. She describes the meetings that did not appear on the public schedule. She describes a Tuesday afternoon when she was told to delete a calendar entry after the meeting had already occurred. She describes the phrase the chief of staff used when she asked why. "This one stays off the glass." She has no documentation. She has a date, a time, and a memory that she carried alone for 11 months. "Silence doesn't protect anyone," she says. "It just makes the people who enforce it more comfortable." She steps back into the wings. The chairman does not look at her. He looks at his hands. His hands are shaking, a fine, rapid tremor, visible only because the camera has moved to a close-up that fills 6 million screens with his fingers, and the armrest they can no longer hold steady. A second person enters. He is tall, wearing a visitor's badge that he has not removed from his jacket pocket. He is a former policy advisor who worked on broadcast regulation at a federal agency he does not name. His voice breaks on his 3rd word. He recovers. His throat works. A visible contraction, muscles fighting for control of a passage that grief and adrenaline are competing to close. He describes a system, not a single email, not a single call, a system in which regulatory tools designed to protect the public were quietly repurposed to discipline the public's access to information. He describes the moment he understood the system was real, a meeting in which a colleague used the phrase content-adjusted enforcement priority without irony, without hesitation, as though the phrase was as normal as budget allocation or quarterly review. His hands hang at his sides. His fingers open and close. A tear runs from his left eye to his jaw. He does not wipe it. "I'm not betraying the family," he says. "I'm betraying a lie." The sound begins in the balcony. 1 pair of hands, then 2, then a row. The clapping is slow, heavy, each strike carrying the full weight of a deliberate choice. It does not build into applause. It remains what it is, a rhythm, a pulse, a collective heartbeat that the room has agreed to share without being asked. A woman in the 4th row stands with her hands pressed flat against her thighs, not clapping, just standing, as though her body needs to be vertical to process what it has just received. The clapping holds for 12 seconds. Then it fades, not because people stop, but because the silence that replaces it has become more eloquent than any sound the room can produce. The chairman's breathing is audible. His chest rises and falls in shallow, rapid cycles. His posture has contracted. The wide, claiming spread of his entrance has collapsed into a tight, defensive fold, shoulders curving inward, chin dropping toward his chest. His voice, when it comes, is a register higher than his opening statement. This is a setup. This is a coordinated. This is political theater, and I will not dignify it with the words arrive in fragments, each one disconnecting from the next as though the syntax itself is losing structural integrity. His right hand grips the armrest, his left hand rises to his collar and pulls at it, loosening a tie that does not need loosening. His eyes dart to Colbert, to the screen, to the wings where the witnesses stood, to the audience, unable to settle on a single point because every point has become the same point. Colbert waits. He lets the fragments pile up on the stage floor between them like debris. Then he speaks. If everything I've shown tonight is a lie, then show the truth. Not with words, not with press statements, not with the phrase routine regulatory communication, with evidence, right now, in front of everyone. The chairman opens his mouth. His jaw moves. The muscles in his throat engage. No sound emerges. The camera holds on his face. Close, steady, clinical. The red tally light burns. 3 seconds. 5, 8. The silence is not empty. It is the loudest thing in the room. It is the sound of an inventory completed. Every item counted, every line accounted for, every entry pointing in one direction that the man sitting in the guest chair cannot name, because naming it would require admitting that the direction is his. Colbert turns to the camera. The inventory is complete, and every item points in one direction. He holds the look for 4 seconds. Then he says 3 words that will, by morning, appear on merchandise, in protest signs, in the subject lines of emails sent to every FCC commissioner's public inbox. FCCU. The words do not land like a punchline. They land like a period at the end of a sentence that took 37 minutes to write. The audience does not laugh. The audience does not cheer. A man in the 3rd row drops his head and covers his face with both hands. A woman in the mezzanine stands, alone, her arms at her sides, her chin raised, her eyes closed. The chairman rises from the chair. His movement is stiff, mechanical, the motion of a body operating on instructions that its nervous system is issuing without consulting its owner. He walks toward the wings. He does not shake Colbert's hand. He does not look at the audience. He moves the way a man moves through a corridor he will never walk through again. By midnight, the clip has been segmented into 13 independent pieces. FCCU trends globally within 14 minutes. 3 constitutional lawyers appear on competing networks before 1 a.m. 2 former FCC commissioners issue statements. 1 uses the word inventory. News anchors replay the backstage audio clip and let it sit for a full segment without commentary, the chairman's voice filling studios that his regulatory authority was designed to oversee. The chairman's office issues a statement at 1:38 a.m. calling the broadcast a grossly misleading representation of standard regulatory processes. The statement is screenshotted and placed beside the email Colbert displayed. The email says, clear. The statement says, misleading. 64 million viewers hold both documents and decide for themselves which word describes what they watched. At 2:47 a.m., a news network receives a single-page communication on FCC internal letterhead, no name, no signature. A verification, short, clinical, 3 sentences, confirming the existence of the Enhanced Compliance Monitoring Memorandum and stating that its criteria were established in direct consultation with personnel outside the Commission's statutory authority. The network's verification team confirms the letterhead matches public records. The inventory grows. The items keep arriving. And every new item confirms what the old items already proved, that the system was real, that it was built to do exactly what Colbert said it was built to do, and that the only thing it could not survive was someone saying its name out loud on the airwaves it was designed to control. The story does not end with a resignation. It does not end with an apology. It ends the way it began, with a word: inventory, a word that means counting what is there and discovering that what is there is not what was promised. Forums pull the call logs. Journalists file FOIA requests for the deleted calendar entries. The phrase content-adjusted enforcement priority appears in legal briefs, in congressional hearing questions, in the opening lines of editorials that will still be cited 6 months from now. The inventory is not finished. It cannot be finished. Because every item that is counted reveals another item that was hidden, and every item that was hidden confirms that the counting was necessary. Subscribe right now and turn on notifications. The next confrontation is already building, and once you see what is coming, you will understand why silence is always louder than power.